What if I told you that the most valuable skill in the modern economy is becoming increasingly rare and that almost nobody is teaching it? Not coding, not AI, not networking. The skill I'm talking about is the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. Cal Newport calls it deep work. In his groundbreaking book, Newport makes a bold claim that deep work is both rare and incredibly valuable, and if you master it, you will thrive. If you don't, you will fall behind. Simple as that. Today, we're going deep, pun intended, on every major idea in this book. By the end of this video, you'll understand what deep work really is, why it matters more than ever, and most importantly, how to actually build it into your life. Let's get into it. Part 1. The idea. What is deep work and why does it matter? Chapter 1. Deep work is valuable. Cal Newport opens the book with a powerful contrast. He describes two different types of workers in today's economy. First, there's the person who is constantly busy, checking email, attending meetings, scrolling through Slack, reacting to notifications. Their schedule looks packed, but when you ask what they actually produced at the end of the day, they struggle to answer. Then there's the second type. This person might seem less busy on the surface, but they consistently produce work that is brilliant, rare, and highly valuable. They write the code that solves the hardest problems. They create the research that shifts entire fields. They write books that change how people think. The difference isn't talent, it's deep focus. Newport defines deep work as professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. He contrasts this with what he calls shallow work. Shallow work is non-cognitively demanding, logistical-style work, often performed while distracted. Things like answering emails, attending routine meetings, filling in spreadsheets, and scrolling through social media. Shallow work doesn't create much new value and is easy to replicate. Here's the brutal reality of the modern workplace. Most people are spending most of their time doing shallow work and calling it productivity. Newport points to three groups of people who will win in the knowledge economy going forward. The high-skilled workers who can work with intelligent machines and systems, the superstars, the best in their field who can deliver elite results remotely to anyone in the world, and the owners, those with the capital to invest in new technology. If you're not an owner, your path to success runs through the first two categories, and both of them require the same core ability, the ability to do deep work. To join the ranks of high-skilled workers and superstars, Newport says you need two core abilities. First, the ability to quickly master hard things. Second, the ability to produce at an elite level, both in terms of quality and speed. And both of these abilities depend on deep work. Without the ability to focus deeply, you can't master hard skills fast. And without mastery, you can't produce at an elite level. This is why deep work is not just a nice habit, it's a career-defining superpower. Chapter 2. Deep work is rare. Here's where things get really interesting and a little uncomfortable. If deep work is so valuable, why is almost nobody doing it? Newport explores this paradox in the second chapter. The answer comes down to the rise of what he calls the metric black hole. In knowledge work, it's extremely difficult to measure individual productivity. Unlike a factory worker who produces X units per hour, a knowledge worker's output is ambiguous and hard to quantify. So, in the absence of clear metrics, companies fall back on visible signs of productivity. And what's the most visible sign of productivity in an office? Being busy, responding quickly to emails, being present in meetings, looking engaged and active. This creates what Newport calls the busyness as proxy for productivity trap. We do a lot of stuff, visible, frantic activity, not because it produces the most value, but because it looks like we're working hard. There's also the pull of the internet. Newport spends time discussing how social media, open-plan offices, and always-on communication tools have fundamentally rewired how we work. These tools fragment our attention constantly, and a constantly fragmented mind cannot do deep work. But here's the silver lining Newport sees. Because deep work is becoming rare at the same time that it's becoming more valuable, the few who cultivate this skill will thrive. Deep work is rare. That means if you build it, you have an edge that very few people have. Chapter 3. Deep work is meaningful. Newport wraps up Part 1 by making the case that deep work isn't just professionally valuable, it's also deeply satisfying and meaningful. He draws on the work of psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who developed the concept of flow, that state of total absorption in a challenging task where time seems to stop and you feel completely alive and present. Here's the counterintuitive insight. People are actually happier when they're deeply focused than when they're at leisure. Shallow distractions like social media don't make us feel good, but deep concentration, even on hard, demanding work, produces satisfaction, pride, and a sense of purpose. Newport also cites the philosopher Hubert Dreyfus and sociologist Sion Kelly, who argue that craftsmanship, the deep, skilled creation of something, is one of the few remaining sources of meaning in a secular world. When a craftsman works deeply on their art, they experience something sacred. Deep work, then, is not just about career success, it's about living a rich, engaged, meaningful life. The person who does deep work consistently lives in a fundamentally different and better than the person constantly distracted.
This is where the book really delivers. Newport gives 4 detailed rules, practical strategies for cultivating deep work. Let's go through each one. Rule 1. Work deeply. The first and most foundational rule is simply work deeply. But Newport knows that just focus more is useless advice. So he breaks this down into specific strategies and philosophies. The first thing Newport addresses is that willpower is a limited resource. You can't just decide to be more focused. Your brain's ability to resist distraction depletes throughout the day, like a muscle getting tired. This means you need systems and rituals, not just willpower, to make deep work happen. Newport identifies 4 different deep work philosophies, 4 ways that different people have structured their lives to maximize deep work. The first is the monastic philosophy. This is the most extreme approach. You completely eliminate or radically minimize shallow obligations. People like Donald Knuth, the legendary computer scientist, basically cut themselves off from email and most external communication. They live in a kind of professional monastery where deep work is everything. Obviously, most people can't do this, so the next approach is the bimodal philosophy. Here, you divide your time into distinct periods. During some periods, maybe entire days, weeks, or even months, you dedicate yourself completely to deep work. The rest of the time, you engage normally with the world. Carl Jung famously had a tower in the Swiss countryside where he would retreat for extended periods of deep intellectual work. The third philosophy is the rhythmic philosophy, and this is probably the most practical for most people. You build a daily habit, a specific time block every day dedicated to deep work. You make it a ritual that happens automatically. Maybe it's every morning from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. before the rest of the world wakes up. You don't negotiate with yourself each day about whether to do it. It just happens. The fourth is the journalistic philosophy, named after the journalist Walter Isaacson, who somehow managed to write massive biographies despite a hectic schedule by fitting deep work into any available gap. This is hard and requires practice. Your brain needs to be trained to transition quickly into deep work mode. No matter which philosophy you choose, Newport emphasizes the importance of rituals. Great deep workers throughout history have had strict rituals around their work. Charles Darwin walked the same path every day to stimulate thinking. Many writers had specific rooms where they only wrote and never did anything else. The ritual signals to your brain it's time to go deep. Newport also introduces the concept of grand gestures. Sometimes, to make a breakthrough, you need to make a radical change to your environment. J.K. Rowling checked into a luxury hotel to finish the last Harry Potter book. Bill Gates took his famous Think Weeks, retreating to a remote cabin with nothing but books and papers. These dramatic moves signal to your brain, this work matters, and the elevated environment boosts the quality of your thinking. Newport also makes a fascinating point about collaboration. Being alone is not always better for deep work. He talks about the concept of the hub and spoke model, a design where thinkers can have intense, energizing discussions in shared spaces, then retreat to private offices for actual deep work. The goal isn't to avoid all interaction, it's to structure interaction so that it fuels your deep work rather than fragmenting it. Finally, Newport introduces a tool called the 4 disciplines of execution, borrowed from business literature. The first discipline is focus on the wildly important. Have 1 or 2 crucial deep work goals, not 20 mediocre ones. The second discipline is act on lead measures. Don't measure outcomes, measure how many hours of deep work you actually do per day. The third discipline is keep a compelling scoreboard. Track your deep work hours publicly on a calendar or whiteboard. The fourth is create a cadence of accountability. Review your scoreboard weekly and plan accordingly. Rule 2. Embrace boredom. This rule might be the most underrated and most uncomfortable insight in the entire book. Newport's argument is direct and devastating. If you seek distraction every time you feel boredom, you're training your brain to be incapable of focus. Think about what happens in a typical day. You're waiting for your coffee, you check your phone. You're standing in line, you check your phone. You have a free minute, you check your phone. Every time you feel even the slightest discomfort of boredom, you immediately reach for a dopamine hit. Newport says this is catastrophic for your ability to focus deeply. Your brain is plastic. It adapts to how you use it. If you constantly switch to stimulation the moment your brain craves distraction, you train it to be dependent on constant stimulation. And a brain that needs constant stimulation cannot do deep work. The solution isn't just to take breaks from distraction, it's to actually practice being bored, to sit with the discomfort, to let your mind wander without reaching for your phone. Newport introduces a powerful strategy here. Instead of taking breaks from distraction, take breaks from focus. By default, your mode should be focused. You schedule specific times when you're allowed to check the internet, email, or social media. Outside of those windows, no digital distraction. He also introduces productive meditation, the practice of taking time when your body is occupied but your mind is free, walking, jogging, driving, and using that time to focus on a single professional problem. This trains your ability to sustain concentration on a hard problem for an extended period. Another counterintuitive technique Newport recommends is memory training. Memorizing a deck of cards or practicing memory palace techniques isn't just a party trick, it literally strengthens your brain's ability to concentrate. Attention is a muscle, you have to train it. The core message of Rule 2, if you want to be able to focus deeply when it matters, you need to stop constantly running from boredom in your everyday life. Boredom is not the enemy, distraction is.
Rule 3. Quit social media. This is the chapter that makes people angry and uncomfortable and defensive, which probably means it's worth paying close attention to. Newport doesn't argue that social media is evil. He argues that the way most people think about social media is broken, and that this broken thinking is quietly destroying their capacity for deep work. Most people justify their use of social media with what Newport calls the any benefit approach. If there's any possible benefit to using this tool, I should use it. Does Twitter help me stay informed? Yes, sometimes, so I should use Twitter. Does Instagram help me stay connected with friends? Yes, occasionally, so I should use Instagram. Newport says this logic is deeply flawed. The correct way to evaluate a tool is to use what he calls the craftsman approach to tool selection. Ask yourself, does this tool have a substantially positive impact on the things I truly value in my professional and personal life? If the answer isn't a clear yes, and if the costs and harms of the tool are significant, don't use it. Social media tools are engineered by brilliant people with one goal: to make you spend as much time on them as possible. They exploit psychological vulnerabilities, they're designed for addiction,
and every minute you spend mindlessly scrolling is a minute you've trained your brain to crave distraction rather than depth. Newport has a simple but powerful exercise he recommends. Take a 30-day break from social media. Don't announce it dramatically, just stop using it. After 30 days, ask yourself 2 questions. First, did anyone miss me being on there? Second, did I miss anything important? For most people, the answer to both questions is no. Newport is also very clear that this isn't about being a Luddite or hating technology. The internet has produced genuinely transformative tools. Email is valuable, Google is valuable, YouTube can be valuable. The question is always, is this specific tool serving my values and goals, or is it just occupying my attention? He also makes a point about the false narrative of attention and success. Many people feel they need to be on social media to build an audience or grow their career. Newport argues the opposite. The way to build a remarkable reputation and audience is to produce remarkable work. Deep work produces remarkable work. Shallow scrolling does not. The practical takeaway from Rule 3: apply intentional, critical thinking to every digital tool in your life. Use the tools that genuinely serve your most important goals. Aggressively eliminate the rest. Rule 4: drain the shallows. The final rule addresses all the shallow work that inevitably fills our days: email, meetings, administrative tasks, and other low-value activities. Newport's argument is that most people wildly overestimate how much of their work is actually necessary. A lot of what fills the workday is not important, it's just urgent-feeling noise. The first strategy Newport recommends is schedule every minute of your day. This sounds exhausting and rigid, but Newport clarifies that the goal isn't to follow the schedule perfectly. The goal is to always be intentional about what you're doing. Most people's days unfold reactively. They respond to whatever comes up. Scheduling forces you to make deliberate choices about how you spend your time. He suggests scheduling your day in time blocks, maybe 30-minute increments. Block out your deep work periods first, then assign the shallow tasks to their appropriate slots. If something unexpected comes up, rewrite your schedule. The point is that your time should always be under your control, not your inbox's control. Next, Newport recommends a simple but powerful exercise. Quantify the depth of every activity. Before putting something on your schedule, ask this question: how many months would it take to train a smart, recently graduated college student to do this task? If the answer is a few months or less, it's shallow. If the answer is years of specialized training, it's deep. This helps you see clearly which activities actually require your unique capabilities. Newport also suggests limiting your shallow work budget. Have an honest conversation with yourself or your boss about how much of your time should be spent on shallow activities. Newport suggests that somewhere between 30 to 50% of shallow work is probably appropriate for most knowledge workers, but many people are spending 80 or 90% of their time on shallow tasks. That's a problem. One of the most interesting pieces of advice in this chapter is about email. Newport argues that email creates an implicit obligation, an agreement that you'll respond promptly and keep conversations going indefinitely. He suggests 2 radical ideas. First, become hard to reach. Don't publish your email address everywhere. Make it slightly difficult to contact you so only serious requests come in. Second, adopt a policy of not responding to emails that don't clearly require a response. If someone sends you a vague question and you reply with another vague question, you've created an endless chain. Newport says it's often better to simply not reply. He also recommends what he calls the process-centric approach to email. When you do reply to an email, don't just answer the immediate question. Think about the full arc of the project or conversation and write a detailed reply that closes the loop so you don't have to keep emailing back and forth. One thoughtful email is worth 10 quick reactive ones. Newport also discusses fixed schedule productivity, setting a hard end time for your workday and working backward from there. If you know you're stopping at 5:30 p.m. no matter what, you naturally become more intentional about how you spend your hours. This prevents the shallow busyness trap of working long hours while actually getting very little done. Synthesis: the deep life. Let's step back and look at the full picture Newport is painting. We live in a world that is actively hostile to deep work.
Our phones are designed to steal our attention. Our workplaces reward visibility over results. Our social culture prizes constant connectedness, and our own habits, built over years of distracted living, have trained our brain to crave stimulation rather than depth. Against all of that, Newport is asking you to make a different choice, a harder choice, a more intentional choice. He's asking you to structure your life around producing the most valuable cognitive output you can, to treat your focused attention as the most precious and finite resource you have, to build habits, rituals, and systems that protect and cultivate your ability to go deep. And the promise, backed by philosophy, neuroscience, and real-world examples, is enormous. People who master deep work don't just do better professionally, they live more meaningful lives. They experience flow and satisfaction and the deep pleasure of genuine craft. Newport's message is ultimately optimistic. In a world of endless distraction, the ability to focus deeply is becoming a superpower available to anyone willing to do the work to cultivate it. The barrier isn't talent, intelligence, or resources. It's attention and discipline.
Key takeaways. The deep work summary, let me give you the core ideas in a quick summary. First, deep work is performing cognitively demanding tasks in a state of distraction-free concentration. It's what produces the most valuable work in the knowledge economy. Second, shallow work is the low-value, easily replicated tasks that fill most people's days. It feels productive. It isn't. Third, deep work is becoming increasingly rare in a distracted world. That makes it increasingly valuable. Master it and you gain a massive competitive advantage. Fourth, choose your deep work philosophy. Monastic, bimodal, rhythmic, or journalistic. Most people should start with the rhythmic approach. Schedule a fixed deep work block every single day. Fifth, build rituals around your deep work. Protect it fiercely. Make it sacred. Sixth, train your brain to tolerate boredom. Stop reaching for your phone every time you feel restless. Practice focus the way athletes practice their sport. Seventh, be ruthlessly intentional about the digital tools you use. Apply the craftsman approach. Only use tools that substantially serve your most important goals. Eighth, aggressively minimize shallow work. Schedule every minute. Batch your email. Set a fixed end time for your day. Protect your deep work hours like your career depends on them, because it does.
So here's the question deep work leaves you with. What would your life look like if you genuinely, consistently worked at your cognitive peak? Not distracted, not reactive, not busy but unproductive, but truly, deeply focused, producing work that matters, building skills that compound, creating a body of work that you're proud of. That life is available to you. But it won't happen by accident. It won't happen because you watched one more video or read one more article about productivity. It happens when you make a decision and then build the systems and habits to back that decision up every single day. Cal Newport wrote Deep Work because he believes we are capable of so much more than our distracted, shallow habits are allowing us to produce. And after reading this book, it's very hard to disagree with him. If this summary resonated with you, do yourself a favor and read the full book. Newport goes much deeper, no pun intended, into the research and the strategies than we could cover here. And if you got value from this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to Beyond the Pages, where we break down the most powerful ideas from the world's best books, so you can think better, work smarter, and live deeper. We'll see you in the next one.